Hi everyone, I'm Ed Amoroso from Tag Cyber, and I'm sitting with my good friend Adi Sharabani, who is the co-founder and CEO of a wonderful mobility security company called Skycure. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to New York.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Driving around looking for parking, right?
That is the very less like. But
We're here at the Fulton Street studio where it's easy to get here by subway and train and foot, but it's terrible to get here by car, so
yeah,
I should have
I
warned
had
you.
Customers and prospects all over, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, so
Good to have a car.
Yeah.
Next time you come, we'll shuttle you around on a skateboard or something, probably doing it. Hey, listen, congratulations. Tell us about the great news. You guys have an recent acquisition to announce.
Yeah, so as of 2 weeks ago, the deal was closed for Symantec to acquire Skycure. As part of that, we're building a unit that is focused on the modern operating systems, and very excited with the whole new roadmap and much faster sales motions, obviously. And great team, like Greg Clark, that's the CEO over there. Who you know well.
I do.
Is doing an amazing job, so really honored to be part of that team.
They're an iconic brand. There's probably 2 or 3 brands that have been with us from the beginning, and they're definitely one of them. It's so exciting. It's a big company, right? They're, it seems like they've spread their wings pretty wide.
Yeah, and with Skycure, I believe that we're the only company in the world that provides full solution for all threats on any device, anywhere. And this is really exciting.
No, that's great. Now, one of the things I know that you guys are very proud of is your integration, the idea that you can connect up into an ecosystem. I'm guessing that dropping the tool into the Symantec ecosystem is probably one of the first things you'll work on. Am I reading that right?
Very much correct. So Symantec has their SEP product as an example, the endpoint protection solution, and it's been deployed on, I don't know if I'm allowed to share how many devices, but like tremendous amount.
A lot.
And when you look at organizations that are enjoying this, at the end of the day, only half of their endpoints are being protected. The other half, the mobile devices, the iPads, the tablets, these are not being protected today, and with Skycure we can really provide a full solution over there. So you're going to see a lot of work together with the SEP team to provide one experience when using all of these solutions.
Yeah. The integration element, I would imagine, between mobility-centric tools and, say, more enterprise-centric tools, probably a good thing to do that in advance of selling to CISOs, because I don't think a lot of enterprise teams have experience doing that. It seems like that's a good place to do the work in advance of a deployment.
Yeah, and I think everyone tried to look around when the mobile devices became very useful for the business, and there were no good real security solutions in terms of active protection and detection and visibility, integration into the SIEM platforms and SOC operation and all of that. I believe that today MDM and EMM solutions are so common in so many organizations, and we have great relationship and integrations with those. But I also see that these organizations need solutions that will speak to the other security offerings that they have, that would identify the fact that your desktop has been breached, and hence there might be implication on your iOS and vice versa.
Tell me more about deployment. So when somebody says, I love the tool, I want to do it, I'm guessing that's probably one of the strengths of what you and the team do, that making it easy to deploy. That seems like a real stumbling block in a number of different areas. How do you make that easy?
Correct, and that was a big challenge that we took upon ourselves throughout the journey of Skycure, because it's one thing to tell you, hey, here is the Skycure solution, just install it and we'll get you secured. But in reality, in the mobility area, the challenge that you're alluding to is the fact that the user is almighty. The user is actually root of the device, while the IT is sort of a guest on the device. And that created a lot of challenge around deployment. We've invested a huge amount of efforts, both in terms of the product, how it operates, how you can always run, how you can be centric around events rather than try to do things behind the scenes that Apple or Google would not like.
On the network threat side, it must be quite an experience when you see that deployment with a large bank. I hope it's a bank that I keep my money in. that they're using a product. But it must be weird to look and think that up until that deployment, all those network threats were real, right? That's is network threat one of the drivers that you see?
Definitely. So we see.
It would seem like it would be.
Yeah, it's definitely is, and I think that with the amount of tools that perform these attacks that people can download or buy online, we see huge increase in those activities, malicious activities. And there is huge increase in the mobility business-related activities that are being conducted outside of the corporate network, right? And so the risk to organizations drastically increased. And some of these problems are new, but others are pretty old. Like the classic man-in-the-middle problem is something that we talked about 3 decades ago easily, right? But now suddenly they are becoming much more impactful for the organization.
Now, cloud, I would imagine threat intelligence and so on is something that, is there a tight interaction with cloud systems and other types of sort of ubiquitous all-source intel to sort of breathe the information that you need into the products? Am I saying that right? Is that the sort of exist in a cloud ecosystem?
The fact that these mobile devices move so much actually makes it becomes the best sensors in the world because they collect different types of data points. Also, because we are focused a lot in organizations, we are seeing that there is a good amount of value that the devices within your own organization will bring to other people from your organization, because there is good correlation between the activities of employees of the same organization. So for that reason, we see that the most important valuable asset that we have is actually the Skycure devices themselves. With that said, we do share much of this information with the public. We have maps.skycure.com, an open project that everyone can go and browse to and search our database for threats that we have identified in any area in the world. And we are constantly creating more and more tools for our partners to be able to utilize as they are building their security processes.
That's fantastic. Now let's talk future.
Yeah.
Where's this all going? Do you see mobility becoming a safer or maybe a less safe place? Do we have to get worse to get better, or what do you think if you had to graph it? What do you,
I think it a lot depends on the definition of safe. So I see that on one hand, there are so many new capabilities that these mobile devices introduce. And every time a new capability is being introduced for us good users, there is a new capability that is being introduced to the malicious actors out there. So from the problem space, the problem only increases. We're working very closely with the OS vendors, so the design of the operating systems becomes better and better. But attacks are not going anywhere. In fact, we're seeing a huge increase in attacks on the mobile platforms. Just recently, we released a threat intelligence report on iOS, only focused on iOS, covering the last 10 years and talking a little bit about the future, and I would recommend all users to go and search for it. But at the end of the day, every organization, all devices becomes modern in that sense, and attackers are not going anywhere. And the only question is what you as an organization do about it. Do you have any controls to identify those threats and to protect yourself against them? We see from projects perspective, a huge increase in the amount of projects in organizations that we support to go and improve their security in the mobility realm. And for that reason, Symantec decided to make such a substantial strategic investment in Skycure.
So that's a pretty optimistic answer, it sounds like.
I think that
more optimistic than pessimistic.
I think that from the security business, we're only going to see much more organizations invest in Skycure or like products. But at the end of the day, as it was through the decades of security, there is this battle between the good players and the bad players. The level of weapons becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, but it's something that we can cope with and understand how to live with and understand how to manage.
I'm glad you're doing the work you're doing. Helps us all, and I'm so happy that you're part of Symantec. That's great, great marriage of two two wonderful firms, and I hope as you get into it more, you come back and visit with us.
Yeah, definitely.
It's great to see you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you for coming by, and we'll see you next time.